Hi everyone, welcome to this review. We're looking at the ES futures on a 500 tick chart with a 21 EMA. So yesterday, or I should say on Friday, we had this downtrend that got a break, pushed to a new low. So at this point, this downtrend is played out, and that led into a strong reversal. As you can see, it went into this trend here and then overshot once today's session opened. So we had a very strong overshoot, ended up retesting that channel before taking off. And you can see this overnight high that we have here, it formed because we got these two legs up. So basically an uptrend with a break, pushed to a new high, and then that led into a reversal attempt, which couldn't get very far. And so when this reversal failed, it started a second major leg up. And so whenever you have an overshoot and it really spikes out, if you get a retest and then it continues taking off, that's indicating that it's going into a new trend basically. Whenever you overshoot, it commonly leads to breaks. It commonly leads to very sharp reversal attempts. And so when you get a retest like that and then it just takes off, that's telling you you're just going into a sharper trend. So we have this uptrend, we got a break, we have our overnight high at this point, and price is still likely to attempt a new high because even though we have two legs up here, since the reversal lower failed, as soon as it starts pushing higher here, we combine these two legs into one. And so that becomes one uptrend with a break, and then we're just now starting that new high attempt here. So when price pushes up here, what I would like to see in this area, because if we're expecting a new high for this uptrend break, if we can get a couple legs back forming a failed second entry, then we can look to get long off that. And the reason that I would like something like this here to make that new high is because this downtrend here would have confluence because it breaks right here, and then you get two attempts at a new low, or you can look to get long on the failure of. And so you need confluence between the previous trends. So if you're looking to make a new high for this uptrend, you got to wait for this downtrend to play out. As you can see, that's what we get, or that's what I would want to see here. Push up, couple legs down, looking to make a new low. But as you can see in this area, we end up just not getting that. And so I don't take anything here. I just wait for something else to set up, and it continues on without us here. It just moves up, goes into a range, breaks out, attempts to fade back in, all the while forming higher lows the whole time, going into a wider uptrend. So initially, you can draw something out like this. It's pretty clear, we have an uptrend, small attempt to reverse. That's just the break, second leg up, forms a range right around that high. But it does end up continuing higher, which means that we can combine these two legs into one. It's clearly just forming a bigger picture second leg up. And when price reaches this measured move, this is a good place to look to get short if we can get below the EMA. Now obviously it's overall very bullish, so just because we're reaching a measured move doesn't necessarily mean that's going to change. And as you can see, it gives a bearish reaction, but it barely gets below the EMA. And you're in this wider uptrend overall. It's just not the greatest spot to get short, really. Now, if we had pushed lower and made a couple legs back, then we definitely could have gotten a short if it made a failed second entry that actually holds below the EMA. We could have taken something even inside of this uptrend, as long as, of course, we're at a overall reversal area, which in this case we are, this measured move. But it doesn't form that, it just pushes right back through, and then we can see here it basically acts like two legs to a new high from this uptrend. So uptrend, break, two legs to a new high, and then a reversal attempt down. We get these two attempts to reverse, pushing right underneath this previous measured move level. Now, if you get a two-legged move like this into a measured move level, even though it's pushing in here a decent bit, depending on how price reacts and pushes back out, it could end up just acting like a retest. Even though it is pushing below, it could just end up acting like a retest if it pushes out very swiftly. But you can see here when it does that, when it starts to push back out of the measured move level, it's still below this trend line, and so it ends up going into this chop. It has a very slight break. You can see when I draw it all the way off of that, it really doesn't break until this swing right here, but it fit better off of those bodies right there, especially with these lows that we're forming. So it does look like we have two small attempts, but even worst case, it's just a small break with one single attempt. So we have our new low attempt. It's a two-legged move, and then we shoot back up above this measured move level, importantly outside of this trend line right here. So I like this right here because it's after a two-legged retest, and then basically we're getting in on the higher low, pushing back out above this level. and it's right after a very small play out, so we can look for a short-term reversal here. Obviously, we could still get some kind of, new low attempt on a bigger picture, but I like this here for 1-to-1 because we already have these two major attempts to reverse after breaking this measured move level right here. So I'm a little bit less concerned about it making a new low here. Now, when price pushes up, we get a very sharp spike. You can see there's a small two-legged break with a bullish reaction after touching the EMA. To me, I would want to see something like this. I'm just going to draw this out real quick. I would want to see two clear legs like this, combining those two small legs into one, because, and I'm just going to get rid of a few things here so we can see this easier. I would want to see two clear legs like that, possibly even retesting that measured move level right there for a long, not just two, very tiny small legs that, they're getting pretty bearish on those pushes down there, you can see. So I wouldn't want to go long right after that. I mean, it basically just made a double top / possibly a new high. I would want to see two larger legs. So anyway, price pushes up, makes a new high. This uptrend has a break, push to a new high. And on a bigger picture, this uptrend has a break and, of course, a clear push to a new high. So at this point here, now that we have these two legs up, price makes this small reversal attempt. It's just two attempts to reverse. And one thing that I want to draw out here that's important is this measured move level. So you can see we have this measured move in play, and when price makes the reversal attempt, we end up holding above the EMA, and also importantly, it's retesting this level right here. So these previous highs were no longer, they're no longer acting as resistance. They're acting as support for this trade right here because it's pushed above, and we're getting these two legs back perfectly to the tick, retesting it. And of course, it's also getting a good push above the EMA. We have this measured move still in play up here. And even though we've made the new high for the uptrend at this point, considering the overall bullishness of the market at this point, with the active measured move, I do like this here for a long, just as a small 1-to-1 trade. It looks like the risk to reward slightly got out of place there. That was 5 ticks. Although, yeah, I did it. Yeah, there we go. So anyway, we have a push down right when price reaches that measured move. We go into a downtrend, break, push to a new low. That leads to a small reversal attempt. Now you can see these two legs, after that small reversal attempt fails, we could just combine them into one. So just to break this down, just to make it clear to everyone, initially, when price pushes down here, we have a single downtrend with a break, and then you can see from the top of this bar here, we have our first attempt at a new low, a correction up to this bar, and then our second attempt at a new low. So the downtrend has a break, plays out with two legs to a new low, and then makes a typical reversal attempt. You can see we have our first attempt to reverse up to here, correction down to this bar, second attempt, and then it fails. Now, as soon as this reversal higher fails, we combine these two legs into one and get prepared for price to attempt a new low for the larger leg, which is the combined legs, the overall channel that just formed. And so this reversal attempt is really just the break of this downtrend. And so now that this downtrend has a break, we can expect price to attempt a new low. It's already shown that it can't get above this EMA. Or at least it's struggling to, pushing right back below it. And so we can look to get in on this second leg down. Now, in this situation here, there isn't really a great entry, but that is technically what's going on here. It ends up pushing on lower, making that second leg down. Even though it's comprised of multiple legs here, it's still just overall one leg down. So anyway, basically at this point in the day, we have an uptrend with a break, a push up to a new high, which means it's played out at this point. And at this point, we are getting an active reversal down. It fails, can't get very far. It certainly can't reach this measured move right here. It makes a higher low than these previous lows, and so that means we're going into another possible uptrend. And so when price is just attempting to reverse and then just continuing higher, continually making higher lows, unable to reverse, that means the bulls are still, of course, in control of this market. And so when price starts pushing up here, even though we just had this active reversal, it already played out, so we can already look to get long again. Now, we have this uptrend, break, pushes up to a new high, It's kind of borderline because it is just making a double top. The bodies are not making a new high with it. And so, it could still make another attempt. That's exactly what we get. It retests this level down here, pushes up, makes a second attempt, failure. So you can see we get this stronger bearish reaction here. And I'm just going to explain here, why do we get this stronger bearish reaction, this, bearish bar that goes all the way down in one bar, and why do we get that here compared to like right here or this leg down? And the reason that you get the strongest bearish reaction out of all this chop right here is because this uptrend has a break, 2 legs up to a new high or attempting a new high, and then it fails to make that new high because it's just making this triple top. And price tends to reverse after making a new high. And so whether these legs right here technically counted as a new high, again, it is very borderline because it's just stacking up at the same level. Whether it counts as a new high or not, we have 2 legs. So the failure is enough to already give a strong reversal and act as it's played out. And even if technically it does act as a new high, that also leads to reversals. And so that would be why the stronger reaction happens right here. So anyway, price ends up holding right at that previous low. So it fails to reverse, continues higher. And then of course that gives us initially we get this right here. So first leg up, break, and then it just chops around while trying to make that second leg up. As you can see, it doesn't quite get there. It nearly reaches it. It's a clear 2-legged move, and that does lead to another 2-legged reversal attempt, which fails, again, makes another higher low. And so as soon as price pushes up here, what I would like to see at this point is, let me just remove some of these things. So what I'd like to see at this point, as price is pushing higher, just as it failed to reverse down, is another chance at a failed second entry. So something like this, because if we get something like this, first entry short, second entry short, and then look to get in on a failure right there, then we can use that as our entry point to get long while we have this measured move in play right after the major reversal failure. So again, this was the reversal attempt. It just failed, launching this current move higher that we're in. The up measured move is still in play. So as price breaks back out of this range high, a 2-legged retest would be a great trade for a long. So anyway, it doesn't happen here. It just continues on higher, goes straight up to that measured move. So you can see we just continue on up. We reach that measured move. As soon as price reaches it, we get this reversal attempt. First attempt down to here, correction, second attempt, fails. Now, I don't like this second entry long because it's right after just reaching this measured move, and these 2 legs are too thin. They're too thin and small, so I would just want to see something, clearer in this area. I would want to see 2 clear legs down, just like what we have right here. Let me just draw this out. If we had gotten a first leg down, break, second leg down to this key entry point, we could have gotten along. Or even if we didn't get that, another chance that we could have gotten is a break of this downtrend, say up to here where my arrow is. So downtrend, break, and then 2 smaller legs to a new low, even if it didn't fully measure. As long as the 2 smaller legs, were decent attempts that got a good bullish reaction, then that could also lead to a long. But it doesn't happen here. It just continues on up. As you can see, it just pushes right up to here, and then we get this reversal attempt. It's basically just makes these 2 swings touching the highs of this channel, and then that leads to a reversal. Of course, overall, it's getting pretty sideways. Even at this point here, it's pretty easy to tell that we're going into somewhat of a range. Price has been sideways for quite a while. Initially, it was spiking up. Now we just have a push down, push up, push down, push up, all in the same area. And so that's our first hint of this range that we're going into. The lows down here are more consistent. At first, of course, this high would be more like up here. So price is actually already touching into it there. But eventually I did extend the highs up to here because it's getting perfect to the tick reactions now at these highs. So anyway, I kind of lost where I was. So we have this new high here. Price starts attempting to reverse. Just pushing off these highs of that channel. When price comes off one side of a channel, we can expect it to at least attempt to reach the other side. and that's exactly what we get. We get this downtrend with a break, push down to a new low. So at this point, this small downtrend is played out. It's not the greatest spot for a long. Again, you're right into that previous high. You're right into this measured move right here, which it's getting below. It's, of course, just not really the greatest area. Again, at the time, the high was more like that. So anyway, it just kind of pushes lower. It ends up reversing down from this high. We have a first entry long, second entry long failure that pushes on down, goes way past this measured move into a full-on downtrend. And you can see when price breaks this up channel here, it starts to go into a failed second entry. So basically a push down, couple legs back, and then we can look to get in on the new low attempt for the downtrend break. Now, ideally here's an ideal failed second entry. So say that this is our push down, this whole leg down. Ideally, we get a clear two-legged break from this downtrend right here. Now, since we're in an active reversal, we just pushed off this major double top, and we're getting through this uptrend line here. I don't necessarily need a two-legged break. We can look to get short on a second entry, measured move. That's breaking a downtrend. It doesn't have to have a perfect two-legged break leaving the downtrend. We're already stacking up sideways. We can just look to ride price to the other side of this resistance here. But on an ideal failed second entry, you have a perfect two-legged break, and this right here is definitely close enough. You still have your two attempts at a new high from this uptrend break. So again, or I shouldn't say again, I think it's my first time mentioning this uptrend here, but we have an uptrend with a break, first attempt higher, second attempt higher, and then right at that measured move, we got a bearish reaction. I believe I recorded this trade, and so I'll just attach the recordings to the front of this video. And as soon as we got this bearish reaction, right at the measured move, retesting this channel, that's when I got short, looking to ride to the other side, and getting out right at these lows here. That ended up leading to a two-legged move down. Right at that measured move, we got this reversal attempt. And yeah, so when price reversed here, that's when we got a much clearer two-legged break, kind of like what I was describing. How ideally, like on a failed second entry, you'll have a push down and then a couple legs up, giving you a two-legged break. But how right here, technically, it's not that two-legged break. It's just a single-legged break. Now that you have this push down, which on a bigger picture is clearly all one leg, you get this two-legged move, which is a two-legged break. Obviously, it pushes way past this measured move level. It's making a new high. It's no longer a valid two-legged break. It's just a straight-up reversal higher. But sometimes it needs to play out on a smaller picture before it starts to make the bigger picture entry. And in this case, the bigger picture entry ended up just ended up not forming because it was too bullish to even do so. So anyway, I'm going to remove some of these here. And yeah, so I'm going to go back to around this area here. So the downtrend is played out at this point, has a break to a new low. The uptrend still has a break. It's still likely to make a new high attempt, which is also what these are here. And so when price starts pushing up higher here, this is a good spot to look to get in on a failed second entry for a long. Now, one thing that it's important to understand, as soon as price is back inside of this channel right here, or I should say this range, as soon as it's back above the EMA really, what that's telling you is that this downtrend playing out was enough for the bulls to come back in. When price started pushing lower right here, this was the major reversal of the day. The uptrend had a break, two clear legs up to a new high, which I forgot to have this drawn here in this video, but it pushes up to there. So the uptrend has a break, two legs up to a new high. It's fully played out at this point, and then we get the major reversal of the day. Now, when you get the major reversal of the day, and it already plays out with a break and two clear legs to a new low, what that's telling you is that the bulls are still winning out. Overall, the bulls are controlling this market. There was a short-term reversal attempt, but very quickly, it played out with a break and two clear measured legs to a new low. And once price gets above the EMA, once it really starts reversing higher, getting back inside of this structure right here, that's really telling you at that point the bulls are winning out. And this right here is just simply a break of this wider uptrend that's forming. It's no longer an in-play active reversal. And so as soon as price rushes above right here, I'm just looking to get long again, no longer looking for any shorts. Unless we get some clear two-legged break up to this high right here that ends up giving a bearish reaction at it, then we can look to get short. But, as far as as soon as it's starting to push in here, I'm just looking to get in on a reversal pattern. So when price rushes up here, if we could get 2 legs back, retesting it, looking to get long, that's a good place for it. Great place for a reversal pattern just to get long with the overall bullish bias at this point. Doesn't end up happening. It just pushes up, reaches these highs, corrects down, makes this higher low. It's not good enough because since price just came off the highs of this range, the range rules are in play, and so it could make a second attempt down even after pushing up here. So it's really just not good enough. It's also the first major attempt at a new low for this downtrend right here. So downtrend, break, first attempt lower. You don't want to enter long directly after that first attempt because for all we know, it could make a significant second attempt. And that could just lead to you getting stopped out. So as soon as price starts pushing lower right here on this bar, what I'd be hoping for is just a second leg down like this, down to the support right here, and then it could push up above the EMA and give us a long, or go into a failed second entry and give us a long from there. But it ends up just taking off, making this two-legged move higher. And as you can see, it goes way through that measured move. It goes straight to the, basically the high of the day. It retests it, and it tries to fade back in, and then it just makes a couple attempts back out. It gets very choppy. Really not a good area for any kind of trades because, you don't want to enter long right into these clear highs, and which let me extend these at this point. So you don't want to enter long into any of those highs. Also, you don't want to just go short right into this previous measured move level and also this uptrend line, which is clearly holding again. So it's just this area is pretty iffy. There's really no good longs or good shorts in this area. You just want to wait for price to either break out the highs or push back and start, reversing lower. And now that we're reversing lower, you can see here, we ended up getting this near retest of this measured move level right here. It's attempting to push back up. It could make that second leg up this time and reach it. So, looks like it's forming a failed second entry. So it's forming that reversal pattern, retesting this measured move level, which is pretty typical to see. Measured move levels, if price pushes through them, rushes back below, it's very common to see them used as a resistance level. So anyway, at this point, this uptrend has a break, 2 attempts to play out, and it technically didn't actually make a new high. The highest point in this uptrend is right here. So we just got to wait and see how price reacts to it. It could lead to a very bearish reaction, or as you can see, it might rush right back above. So it's one of those areas you just got to kind of wait for price to get out of that area in order to offer something. And so, yeah, if it pushes above here, it's overall so bullish. If it pushes back above this level right here, it could easily just make a couple legs retesting. Say that we push up and then get a couple legs back like this. What that would be is a downtrend with a break in 2 attempts at a new low, and so it would have confluence with this downtrend right here. We'd be able to get long because if we got to push up a couple legs back, we'd be looking to get in on the second leg up, which would also of course mean make the new high for this initial uptrend. And with these 2 attempts down right here, we'd have confluence to play out this downtrend right here. So again, downtrend, break, first attempt lower, second attempt lower, failure. And so that's a long possibility that we could get. But yeah, so anyway, I think that's going to do it for this video. I just wanted to do a quick review of the ES. I do also trade the NQ, but I more just want this channel to be about the ES just for the sake of time and making videos and stuff. But anyway, really appreciate you all watching, and I'll see y'all next time.